Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to share this slide. So could you see this slide here, screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there are only 13 attendees. Let me wait for another 3 minutes. Abdul Rafe, Mr. Abdul Rafe.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So now the attendees are 12. Okay, I'm going to start the lecture. So you may unraise the hand, okay? Please, student, please unraise the hand. I'm going to start the lecture. So, dear students, I have already shared you the video recorded lecture. So I told you that due to the shortage of time, I won't be able to explain all the topics in detail, and you could consult video recorded lecture. But if you would see the eccentrically loaded column derivation, the derivation is same as of the Euler formula, but only difference is that we are having a particular solution along with a general solution. So actually, in eccentrically loaded column, due to eccentricity, this column is subjected to bending moment along with axial forces. So when we increase this load, this bending moment also increases, and this bending moment increases the lateral deflection. And lateral deflection is keep on increasing or magnifying with the increase of load in a quadratic pattern. Density and apply and additional bending moment. So the beam will be the column will be subjected to the additional lateral deflection, and also it will fail prematurely at a load less than uh, expected load as compared to the uh, concentric load column. So the question arises that why we are studying this topic, because in your fifth semester in space structure design, you did not compute the capacity reduction due to the eccentricity or imperfection. Because in that case, I have already explained you that. Okay, let me show you this slide again. Which was this slide? Yes, this slide. So in AISC, AISC says that if imperfections are very small, if out of the plane imperfection or eccentricity is less than length of the column divided by 250, then we do not need to compute the actual capacity reduction, and we can reduce the capacity by 12.3% by multiplying the expected capacity by 0.877. So, but if we are having different situation, a special situation where we are having the eccentricity in column and out of the plane imperfection is larger, or eccentricity of the load is larger, in that case, how exactly we can compute the capacity? So for this purpose, we are studying this secant formula or eccentrically loaded column. So if we are having any eccentricity on column, or column is subjected to eccentric load or bending moment along with axial forces, then how we can compute their capacity? So we are studying this particular secant formula. So if you would see the derivation, so in the derivation, we have to derive two expressions. One to determine the maximum out of plane total deflection due to the applied load, including the bending moment. So you have come up with this expression. So why maximum? Maximum out of plane deflection can be computed by this expression, which is equation number 28, E into E secant KL by 2 minus 1. So K is equal to P over EI. So after simplification, you could convert the expression 28 to 29. Or you can also further simplify that you will see in upcoming slides. So this is the maximum out of plane deflection produced by load value. So this load value will always be less than P critical corresponding to perfect column or concentric column, because the load at which the buckling in eccentric column will occur will always be less than equal to P critical. So further, you may use either expression number 28, 29 or 30 to compute the Y maximum, because all expressions they are same. Because here EI, because this P is never equal to P critical, so EI value could be taken from the Euler critical formula. So pi critical, P critical is equal to pi square EI over L square. So if you separate out the EI value, that will be equal to P critical into square of the effective length divided by pi square. If you substitute EI value in this equation number 29, so you could simplify this expression to this. So after substituting and simplifying, pi square and L square can be taken outside. So maximum deflection in an eccentric column is the function of eccentricity into secant pi by 2 into P is the applied load, and P critical is the Euler critical load about the bending axis. So this P will always be less than P critical. So for here, if you want to use this expression, the moment of inertia is always computed about the bending axis, about which the eccentricity is given. I will further explain when we are solving some numerical related with this eccentric formula. And how we can compute the maximum stresses in eccentric column. So as I have told you that in a eccentric column, it is subjected to axial forces along with bending moment. The bending moment occur due to the eccentricity. So we shall have two types of the stresses, axial stresses and bending stresses. I'm considering the compressive stresses as a positive and tensile as a negative, because the resultant stress will be maximum when the stress component they will be added up. So compressive stresses will be added up with the flexure compressive stresses. So total stress will be equal to P over A axial stresses plus the stresses produced by the bending moment due to eccentricity. C is the distance from the neutral axis to the extreme fiber, because bending stress will be maximum at extreme fiber. So we are interested to compute maximum bending stress. So that's why we have to substitute value C instead of Y. I is the moment of inertia about the bending axis, and moment can be computed as by this expression. Moment will be equal to Y maximum plus eccentricity. Eccentricity is the eccentricity of the load at zero load value of column at zero load value, and Y maximum is the additional deflection produced by applied load. So total eccentricity will be deflection produced by due to the applied bending moment or applied load in later direction plus eccentricity at zero load. So I value can be replaced by the AR square. So if you could simplify, so Y maximum, you could substitute the value of Y maximum from this expression that you have already derived, which is E secant pi by 2. So if you are using this formula, you need to make sure that your calculator should be in radian mode. So only radian mode is accepted. So this formula is only applicable in radian. So after simplification, if you substitute the Y maximum value, which is E secant KL by 2 minus 1, or this formula. You can substitute y maximum value in any form. So P over A can be taken common. So we shall have 1 here because we have taken P over A common, and E is also here because if you will substitute the value of y maximum, so one E is here and one in the expression of y maximum. So we could take this E also common and also C R square on the outside. So this will become EC over R square. And this minus 1 will be cancelled out with this 1 because we have taken the E common outside. So a simplified expression will be this one. Sigma maximum stress will be equal to P over A 1 plus EC over R square into secant KL by 2. So here E is the eccentricity of load, C is the distance from the neutral axis to the extreme fiber, and R is the radius of gyration about the bending axis and A is the cross-section area of the column. So EC over R square, this factor in combined is also called eccentricity ratio. So you could replace value of KL by 2 because KL by 2 is equal to under root P over EI into L by 2 or pi by 2 under root P over P critical. So you could either substitute this value or this value for KL by 2. So after simplification, you are having this formula. Okay, in this formula actually, if you are given applied load and eccentricity of the load and you are also given all geometric properties. So determination of maximum stresses in column is relatively easy because if applied load is given. And these maximum stresses can be compared with the allowable stresses or yield stress of the material to check the safety of column. So P critical is constant because P critical is the Euler critical load about the bending axis. So if we are given the applied load with an eccentricity and geometric properties, then it is easy to determine the maximum stress by this equation 33. So equation 33 can be used for any end condition as long as an appropriate value is used, K value is used to calculate P critical. So since sigma maximum does not vary linearly with load P, the principle of superposition is not applicable to determine the stress due to the simultaneous application of applied load. And for the same reason, factor of safety may not be used with the stress, it is used with load. That is very important comments. And usually I ask this question in Viva, in quiz or in also examination. So actually what does it say? He says that so sigma maximum does not increase linearly with load. So sigma maximum is the function of the load value. Neither the load is the function of sigma maximum. So if principle of superposition is not applicable because the function is not increasing linearly. And if we want to use factor of safety, then factor of safety is always used with the load, not with the stresses in case of eccentric column. What is the reason? And I will explain the principle of superposition also. So actually what happens if you see this derivation? So actually you see that if the load is zero, at zero load, applied bending moment will be maybe zero. When the load we are having some load, so when we increase the load, so E is constant. So Y is the additional lateral deflection produced by the load. When we are keep on increasing the load, so Y is also keep on increasing. It means that the Y is not constant. So when we increase the load, load is also increasing and Y value is also increasing. It means that movement is the depending upon two variables because E is the constant. So movement is increasing quadratically or second degree function because it is depending upon two variables. With the increase of load value, y is also increasing substantially. So it means that when we are determining the stress value here, for example here, so it means that for a load value maybe 10, we shall have some particular y value is constant. So y will be 10. So we will have so y value will be maybe 1. So 1 into 10 we are having certain movement. But when the load is increased to 20, so load is increasing and y maximum is also increasing. So it means that you could say if a deflection is 1 millimeter at a load value 10, then deflection at load 20 may not be equal to 2. It may be 3. So movement is also increasing exponentially. So that's why the stresses are increasing non-linearly when we are increasing the load value, because due to the load increase of load value, y maximum and movement is also increasing. So what does it say that why the principle of superposition is not applicable? Let's suppose I says that when the load is 10, then applied stresses will be equal to 10 megapascal. And when the load will be 20, then applied stress are 40 megapascal. This means load is 10, stress are 10. Load is 20, stress are 40. So it means that you will say that if a two load they are acting simultaneously. Simultaneously mean that two separate loads they are acting at the same time, maybe 10 and 20. Then what will be the resultant stress? So you cannot say that resultant stress will be equal to the stress summation of the stress produced by the load when they are acting alone. For example, when 10 and 20 load are acting, the stress will be equal to 10 produced by the load 10 megapascal plus the 40 megapascal stress produced by load 20, and answer will be 50. So you cannot say that the stress will be equal to 50 megapascal. So load principle of superposition is not applicable. The resultant stress is due to the two load when they are acting simultaneously to 10 plus 20. Maybe the applied stress will be 100 megapascal. So principle of superposition is not applicable. When two load are acting simultaneously, we need to convert into resultant load, and then we need to determine the stresses by that resultant load value. So principle of superposition is not applicable. You cannot just add it up the stress produced by the two loads when they are acting separately to compute their resultant effect. Because with the increase of the when we are increasing the load, so movement is increasing exponentially because y maximum is increasing with the load, and also p is increasing because y maximum is also depending upon the load value. So it means that it is movement is increasing as a second degree function of load. So due to same reason, factor of safety is only applied on the load value, not on the stress. So just like I have explained, further simplification we can be done. So P over A, from this equation we have taken P over A constant outside. So this P over A is the applied load, applied stress, which is causing a certain maximum stresses in an eccentric column with eccentricity E. So further simplification can be done. You could replace I with AR square, or you can use equation number 32 as it. So if you are taking you are replacing the I value with AR square, so under root of R square will be equal to R. You can take it outside, so that will become LE over R. 1 by 2 you can take this outside. So this is called the Euler angle. because that is the theta value, which is the depending upon the Euler formula. And EC over R square is the eccentricity ratio. So if so in this equation, which is equation number 34, the formula given 34 is referred as a secant formula. It defines the force per unit area, applied force per unit area that cause a specified maximum stresses in a column of in a column with given effective roughness ratio and eccentricity ratio. It means that we only know the cross section area and applied load. So what are the applied stresses? Applied stresses may be equal to 20 megapascal, but these applied stresses in an eccentric column can produce a maximum stress may be equal to yield stress. So it means that with the increase of eccentricity, so applied stress may cause the yielding of the column, and applied stress may be much less than the yield value. So it means that expected failure will occur at a stress value at a lesser applied stress value. So this applied stress is causing the stress equivalent to maybe yield value. So for example, I want to determine that if a material will fail when the stress is are equal to yield value, sigma maximum or yield. So I want to determine at what applied stresses the stresses in the column may be equal to yield stress, and that are function of the slenderness ratio and eccentricity. So if the material properties dimension of the column, P value and P are given just like I have explained here. If material properties are given, eccentricity are given, apply load is given, then we can easily determine sigma maximum. But on the other hand, if sigma maximum is specified, the determination of P is considerably more complicated because equation 33 is being non-linear in P and must be solved by trial and error method. The second formula is mainly useful for intermediate values of LE over R value. However, it is used effectively, we should know the value of eccentricity. So it can be used for any intermediate range of slenderness ratio. So what does it say? So he says that if we want to determine how much maximum stresses are produced in a column, if we are given the apply load and eccentricity, that are easy. But if I want to determine the load value, so at what load value the maximum stress in the column will be equal to yield stress, or at what load value the stresses in the column will be equal to 200 megapascal. So sigma maximum, if it is equal to 200 megapascal, then with the given eccentricity, what is the load value? So we are having load on the both sides. So it means that we need to determine this value by trial and error. What is a trial and error method? That maybe instead of using this equation, we use the equation number. It is better to use this equation number 32. So this maximum stresses, they are specified. For example, they are 200. We are given the E value, C value, R square, EI value is also given. Only P is unknown. We shall substitute any random value P, and we will compare the answer of this right hand side with left hand side. For example, we substitute the P value is 90, and answer of this right hand side is coming as a 220, which is more than 200. So we shall reduce the value P maybe to 80. When I substitute the 80, answer is coming out as a 190. Then we shall increase the load value gradually until the right hand side is equal to left hand side. So in that way we can determine the load value at which the stress will be produced as specified. So similarly, this is the graphical representation how the eccentricity is affecting the capacity of column with a given slenderness ratio. So we have already specified that if the slenderness ratio is maybe around approximately less than equal to 100, then the column will be categorized as a short column. And if it is more than 100, the column will be long column. And for the long column, critical stress can be determined by the Euler formula. Stress sigma critical is equal to pi square E over LE over R square. So if you substitute any slenderness ratio value starting from 100 to 200, so you could determine the corresponding critical stresses. And if the slenderness ratio will be less than 100, for example, here the value here is around maybe 90, you could say. So column will be short column. So it will always fail at a stress value equal to yield value. And for example, we are having a column which is having certain eccentricity. Eccentricity may be E, C over R square will always be constant. C is the distance from the neutral axis to the extreme fiber, and R square is the radius of gyration. So for example, you could only say that it is having a small eccentricity. Maybe this eccentricity ratio is 0.01, or you could say that this column is having a very small eccentricity equal to maybe zero point 0.1 or 1. Then if it is having any eccentricity, so if we could use this formula to determine the applied stresses. So we want to determine that at how much applied stresses the yielding may occur. So sigma maximum is equal to 250 megapascal for a 36 steel. E value is also known. So we want to determine that what are the applied stresses in an eccentric column which may cause the yielding. So just sigma maximum is 200. EC over R square are the constant applied stresses. This we want to determine, and we want to substitute LE over R value is variable. We can substitute this LE over R value starting from 0 to 200, maybe 10, 20, 50, 75, 100, 250. And these all values are known, and we want to determine the P over A value by hit and trial value. Sigma maximum is known. So with the increase of slenderness ratio value, P over A value is decreasing, just like we are having this. So it means that we could say, so at this stress value, slenderness ratio, maybe this slenderness ratio is 90. If eccentricity is 0, then column will fail at a stress value 250 megapascal. But it is having a certain eccentricity, so corresponding to this same slenderness ratio, column will yield at applied stress may be equal to this value, which is around 230 megapascal and less than 250. And similarly, if we are increasing the eccentricity, and with the increase of eccentricity corresponding to same slenderness ratio, column will yield at a stress value will yield at a considerably less applied stress value or at less load value. For example, if I fix the slenderness ratio 50 and sigma maximum 250, then you could see that if eccentricity ratio is 0.1, column will yield at applied stress value may be equal to 220. And if eccentricity ratio is 0.5, the same column will yield at a stress value may be equal to 150. And for the same column, same slenderness ratio, if eccentricity is increasing, the column will yield at a stress value maybe around 110 megapascal. So with the increase of eccentricity, load carrying capacity or the applied stress value at which the yielding will occur reduces. So this is the numerical expression over here. So if we are having ideal column, for ideal column concentrically loaded, if we are increasing the load, there is no any lateral deflection. So we keep on increasing. So column certainly buckle when the load is equal to P critical. So it buckling occur at this point. But with the increase of eccentricity, even though we are increasing the load, column will start deflecting in the lateral direction due to the additional bending moment due to the eccentricity of the load. And column will fail at a load value less than the critical load corresponding to ideal column. So with the increase of the load value, eccentricity, so deflection, lateral deflection will be more, but P critical will be less. So if the eccentricity is more, so column will be elastic to a certain value, and after a certain value, when we increasing the load, so column will buckle non-linearly or it will show inelastic behavior. Inelastic means at some portion of the column, the stress will be more than the yield value before the final buckling occurs. So here is a practice problem I have explained in the video recorded lecture. So you could practice, maybe you can develop an Excel sheet to understand the effect of eccentricity on load carrying capacity or on initial deflection or deflection produced by the load. So with the increase of eccentricity corresponding to any load value, the later deflection increases, but the failure load decreases. Okay, here now we are going to discuss a problem related with the eccentric column. So we are this problem I have taken from the book Mechanics of Material by Weir and Johnston, and it is the sixth edition of the book. So I could provide you this book in short form also. So maybe after this lecture, I will send it to your CR by WhatsApp so we could share with the class. So we are having this cantilever column. So in this cantilever column, height of the column is 3.5. Bottom side is fixed or welded. Load is applied on the top surface, and to facilitate the load application, a plate is welded on the top side. So this is an I section. This is the flange, and web is directed in Y direction. So this is the x-axis. Y says that every load P is applied at a point located on x-axis, distance at a distance E from the geometric axis of hot rolled section on column C and B. When P load is 350 applied load, so if the load value is 350, the horizontal deflection, lateral deflection of top of the column is 5 millimeters. So the cantilever portion is deflected by 5 millimeters, and using E value 200 gigapascal determine the following. Number A is eccentricity of the okay here please you first of all you need to understand the main parameter. So this eccentricity is given in x direction along x-axis. So if eccentricity is given along x-axis, so this load P, it will produce the moment about y-axis, because moment about y-axis is produced by the load into the moment arm, which is perpendicular to the bending axis. So load multiplied by the eccentricity, so they will produce the moment about y-axis. So we could say two things. If this is the eccentricity about y-axis or in x direction, load is x direction or about y-axis. So this will produce about y-axis. It means this column is eccentric about y-axis. So we need to use all geometric parameters about y-axis. So do we have any eccentricity along y-axis? No. So it means that about x-axis column is concentric. Column will not bend about x-axis. It will only bend about y because eccentricity is causing the bending moment about y-axis. So this column is concentric about x-axis and eccentric about y-axis. So it means that all geometric parameters that we shall use will be used about the y-axis. So for this column, standard designation is given 250 into 58, and for 250 and W250 into 58, in the examination you shall be provided with all the geometric properties. Cross section area is 7420. Section modulus about y-axis is 185 into x and 3. Moment of inertia about x-axis and y-axis are provided. Radii of gyration about x and y-axis are also given. Depth of section is given. BF value, width of the flange is given 203. So column is a cantilever because one end is fixed and top end is free. So K value will be 2. And the maximum deflection is given at the top surface 5 mm. So in case of the cantilever column, maximum deflection will always be at free end. But in the case of both end fixed or thin, maximum deflection will be in center. So you could use, first part is that we need to determine the eccentricity. So surely we need to use this secant formula. So in this secant formula, so we have to use this formula to determine the eccentricity. Y maximum is equal to E into secant KL by 2 minus 1 into E. So you could replace the K value by P over P critical. So you could either use this expression because KL by 2 is equal to, we have already studied here. KL by 2 is either can be replaced by under root P over EI into L by 2 or pi by 2 under root P over P critical. We have done some simplification already. Okay, here, just like I have shown, the column is bending about y-axis due to the eccentricity because eccentricity is given in x direction. So the load P is causing the bending about y-axis. So it means that in this equation, when we are supposed to determine the P critical, so P critical is the load carrying capacity of the column about y-axis if the column is concentric. So P critical is the Euler critical load about the bending axis. So eccentricity is given along x-axis. So moment is produced about y-axis. So P critical will also be computed by substituting the moment of inertia about y-axis, about the same axis about which the bending may take place or the column is eccentric. So P critical you can determine pi square E and you shall substitute Iy value and effective value of the effective length of the column is 2 multiplied by total length in millimeters. So all values in this expression should be Newton and millimeter. So this is the Iy. that I have shown here, 1870 into exponent 4. So now we shall substitute all values here in equation number 1. Y maximum is given 5. So E value we is supposed to determine secant pi by 2, applied load 350 and critical is 901.18 minus 1. Okay, here you shall see that if the eccentricity is 0, then the column will buckle at a load value 901.18. But due to the eccentricity, the column is buckling or bending at a load 350, which is much lesser than pre-critical. So this ratio indicates how much capacity is reduced due to the E value. So you will simplify this parameter, which is coming out to be E secant. So let me simplify secant का S छोटा ही होना चाहिए और so when you are determining this E value, make sure that your calculator is in the radian mode. So here I left the solution for you. So you could solve this on calculator and you could determine the E value. And then maximum stresses can be determined by this formula. Sigma maximum is equal to P over A compressive stresses plus the stresses produced by the bending moment. So I'm considering the compressive stresses as a positive. So M maximum can be computed as a maximum bending moment produced by this load. And C is the distance from the neutral axis to the extreme fiber. And column is buckling about y-axis. So that's why we call the eccentricity is producing the moment about y-axis. So that's why I have used here Iy. Because if the bending will takes place about y-axis, so y-axis will become the neutral axis, and the stress will be distributed along x direction. So Cx will be distance from the neutral axis to the extreme fiber. So this direction is Bf value, width of the flange. The distance from the neutral axis to the extreme fiber will be equal to half of the Bf value. The Bf value is given 203. So Cx is Bf by 2. Or if you're bringing the Cx on the bottom side, so Iy over Cx, it will be equal to the section modulus about y-axis. So you could either use this expression or this expression to determine the resultant maximum stresses. So moment will be equal to Py maximum plus E. So total bending moment will be produced by the total eccentricity will be E plus additional deflection produced by the P value. So P value is given 350 into exponent 3, we shall convert into Newton. Y maximum value is already given. E value we just have determined from previous expression. So Cx value will be equal to Bf by 2, which is 101.5. So you shall substitute the value P over A, cross section area is given, and maximum you could determine from here, and Cx value is Bf by 2, and Iy value is this one. So instead of using Cx and Iy, you could use the section modulus about y-axis, because section modulus is the ratio between the moment of inertia to the y value. Y is the distance from the neutral axis to the extreme fiber. So if you divide 1870 into exponent 4 divided by 101.5, So answer will be same 184. For example, here action modulus about y-axis which is given 185 in attachment rate. It will be approximately same. So you could compute this answer. So alternatively, you could directly use this formula to determine the maximum stress. P over A eccentricity you have just determined previously. P critical, you know the value and this value. Because this formula is also derived from the same concept. Because this formula is derived from the same concept. So you could either use this end formula 33 or you could determine the stress by part by using the basic uh, expressions. And so I will stop here. So next time I shall discuss the solution of some two problems. So if anyone is having any question, he can raise the hand. So no need, I have already marked the attendance. So inshallah we should have our lab session at 1 p.m. today. So inshallah we'll see you the next time. Allah.